good morning, good afternoon. Today is December 18th, 2018.
Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. How was your Monday? My Monday night sucked. I had a big old freaking meltdown.
That was Sunday night.
Was it Sunday night that I had the meltdown?
Yeah, tonight's Monday night.
Oh, that's what I meant.
You haven't had
Last
a meltdown
night.
yet.
Last night.
Yeah, last night.
You gotta remember we're a day ahead of you guys. We're behind. Or you're a day ahead of us. Something, I don't know.
We're from the past, you're in the future.
Yeah. We're filming this on Monday, you'll see it on Tuesday. So yeah, Sunday night, I had a meltdown.
Yep.
And for some reason, my brain was just focusing on nothing but every loved one that I've lost in the last few years. Because, like, first we were talking about my divorce, and how we were still really good friends, my ex-husband and I. We were still really good friends after the divorce. And like 3.5 months after the divorce, he had a heart attack and died. And nobody saw it coming, really. I mean, he had been complaining about chest pains. And I kept telling him, I'm like, you know, your dad's had a heart attack before. Perhaps you should go to the doctor. No. It's just indigestion. It's just heartburn. I'll be okay. Blah, blah, blah. And then one day I get the call from the hospital saying, you need to come down here. And, so I went down there. And because I was the only phone number they could find on him. I was the only identification they could find on him. So that's why they called me. And so I go down there to the hospital. And I was greeted not by a nurse or a doctor, but I was greeted by the chaplain. Because it was a religious hospital. They had chaplains and stuff. For all sorts of different religions. But as soon as I was greeted by the chaplain, I knew he was dead. I knew he was gone. And I was thinking about that last night. And I was thinking about how that year and a half after our separation, because we separated in June of 2010, but we didn't get officially divorced until January of 2011. But in that span, I went through a divorce. Then I lost my ex-husband, who had still been my friend, probably one of my best friends. Then I lost one of my uncles. I lost my grandma. I lost 2 cats and my dad, all in the span of like 2 years. And it just, I don't know, it was really, really getting to me, and I just kept thinking, oh my God. But it made me think of something. It made me think, I mean, I've always known this, but you don't really think about it too much. There is no promise tomorrow. We're all living on borrowed time, whether we get a disease, or die in a car accident, or fall off of a roof, or something. I know that's a little stretched out, but, you know, I mean, we're not guaranteed a tomorrow, so we really need to, enjoy while we can.
Enjoy the time we have.
Like the Latin saying, carpe diem, which means seize the day.
Yeah.
We all need to seize the day, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
That's true.
And so I'm just having this big meltdown, and, yeah, I'm okay now, obviously. I'm okay now, but last night was rough.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God, it was rough. It made me think about the grieving process. So I looked up some stuff on the grieving process, and, how's grief affected you? Because I know you've lost both your parents.
Yep.
And an uncle.
And an aunt.
And an aunt.
Yeah.
But you weren't really close to your uncle, aunt, or mom.
No, I'm really distant from most of my family.
Yeah.
Which is...
Well, you and your dad kind of rekindled for the last few years.
Yeah, and that was the only death in my life that really affected me.
Was your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
my mom and I had an estranged relationship because, and I'll go into that subject later.
Well, give us like a brief.
She left when I was really young. We didn't meet till I was 16 in person. And then she died a year and a half later.
Yeah, she was a type 1 diabetic.
Yep.
Yeah,
it was...
And how did you react to all that?
That's the time when I discovered I might have had some issues.
Mm-hmm.
Like mental health issues.
Yeah. How so?
When she died, it's normal for people to act out a little bit, or...
Definitely.
Just change a little bit when someone really close to them dies like that.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was like flipping a switch. I went from mild-mannered, nice kid, just did my thing, to angry. Really, really angry.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't really angry at any individual person. I was more angry at God.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is weird, because please don't give me Bible religion teachings. I know.
You've read the Bible forwards and backwards.
Pretty much, minus a few new Old Testaments.
Yeah.
They're just dry as a bone, and they're old as a bone, for that matter. Anyways.
We have the same favorite verse in the Bible. Philippians 4:13.
Oh, yeah.
Philippians, is that how you say it?
Yep, Philippians
4:13.
Yep.
Tell them what that one is.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me is the shortened version of it. I don't remember the lengthy version of it. It depends what Bible you read. Some Bibles have an additional couple of words to it, some don't.
Yeah, they're all a little different.
Yeah.
But the point is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and I'm not really a religious person. I mean, not because I have anything against religion. It's just not really something that I ever found horribly important in my life. I've been to a few churches. I was baptized and confirmed as a Lutheran, but I haven't been to church, oh boy, in probably like 15 years. I would love to go to a church again, but I don't know. Your waistband is bugging me. I don't know why, but it is. It's bugging me. Okay, that's better. You're gonna mess it all up again. So we were thinking about like the grieving process, and I looked up the 5 stages. And one thing that they don't tell you when it comes to these 5 stages is they don't always have to be in the exact same order that they're listed. I mean, acceptance almost always comes last, but you can go back and forth between stages too. You can experience a stage, move on to the next stage, and then go back to the stage you already experienced. There is no mathematical equation to grief. But the 5 stages are denial, anger, depression, bargaining, and acceptance. Now, what I'm thinking is, like one thing to list an example of what I just said, the 4th stage is bargaining. You could ask or beg your higher power, whoever it may be, to be like, oh, spare me, or spare this person, or spare that person. And when your wishes are not met, that can bring you right back up to phase 2, which is anger. You can become angry at your higher power who did not fulfill the deal that you tried to make with them. First stage is almost always denial. First stage is denial when it's you who is dying. It rarely happens when a loved one dies, because, I mean, once they're gone, you know?
Oh, no, I was in denial when my mom first died.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You told yourself she's not dead?
Long story short, I came home from work. My dad was sitting in the living room. My brother was sitting in the living room. My brother was older and living with us at the time.
Michael?
Yeah, Mike. Which is probably a good thing, because otherwise I probably would have punched my dad in the face.
Oh, okay.
Because I was pretty sure my dad was playing a joke on me.
Oh, when he told you that your mom was gone.
Yeah, well, because they didn't call me home from work.
Mm-mm.
They didn't call me at work to tell me. They didn't do anything. They just let me go about my day. I'm like, you could have called me.
Maybe they wanted you to finish your shift unupset.
Yeah, it kind of made me more upset because they didn't call and tell me.
Yeah. Oh, I understand that, but you
Different kind of upset.
Yeah. I mean, try to look at it through their point of view, too.
Yeah.
I mean, you were at work. You were probably having a nice, normal day. Normal for you.
Normal for McDonald's.
Yeah. Yeah, fast food, not the greatest career choice. But,
No.
we both speak from experience. And, wow, okay, that's interesting. I've never heard of somebody denying that.
I was in full denial that my dad was lying to me, that she was really there. I tried to call her phone number multiple times, and it was, of course, no one answered.
Right.
And it just... Yeah.
So you did bounce from one stage back to another.
Oh, I was bouncing between the first 4, like, for a month and a half straight.
Yeah, see, like I just said,
But
it doesn't have to be in order.
I'm kind of an extreme case, so...
Yeah, because it'd been so long since you had seen your mom.
Yeah.
That you kind of really didn't get a chance to form any kind of good mother-son bond.
Yeah, so it was, I kind of bounced between the first 3 or 4 a lot.
Yeah.
And anger was there far too much.
And the grieving process doesn't even have to be applied to death. It can be applied to any significant loss.
Oh, yeah.
Because when me and Rob separated, I went through the stages. I begged and begged God to make him change his mind and want me back, you know. He and I got divorced because he really couldn't handle my mental illness anymore. He couldn't handle the stress of having a schizophrenic wife. And he claimed that he didn't love me the way a husband should love his wife anymore. That he did care about me, but he didn't love me anymore. And that was pretty much the roughest.
Okay, I've got to say something.
Say something.
Okay, I can't say what I want to say.
Say what you want to say.
No,
keep
because
it clean.
There's a word I want to say that I can't say. What the frack is that?
He cared about me as a friend. He wanted good things for me. He just didn't love me the way a husband should love a wife.
But he did love you at some point.
He did, yes.
So he fell out of... Oh, God.
It can happen.
Oh, I hate that saying.
It can happen. I hate that saying too, but it can happen. But, like, I went through denial. I mean, the first couple of weeks I was at home, I was like, we just needed a break, we're going to get back together, everything's going to be fine. And then the anger, I went through that big time. Oh my God, I was so angry for a long time. I was angry at him, I was angry at myself, I was angry at his mother. We had lived with his mother before we separated, and me and his mom didn't click very well. And I pretty much had it convinced that she's the one who influenced his major decision to let me go. That's a whole different story, though. They needed to be cut the umbilical cord because they were still attached. Then, of course, I went through the depression. I went through the depression while I was going through all the other stages.
Me too!
That's another thing. You can experience more than one stage at the same time.
I went through, like, what's the 4th one?
The 4th one is bargaining.
Yeah, I kind of went 1 through 4 all at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, that can happen.
Which is dangerous.
Yes, it is. Especially when you're already mentally ill to begin with.
Well, I didn't know I was mentally ill at the time. It just was reasonably thought.
Yeah, but it was still, bad for you.
Oh, God, yeah.
And, I even remember my bargaining episode. I was in the hospital. It was very shortly after the separation. In fact, I think it was, either that night or the next night that I had become suicidal. So my mom and dad pulled the 5150 on me and took me to the hospital. And I remember sitting in the room by myself while in triage and out loud begging God not to take Rob away. Don't take Rob away. I can't do this. I don't want to. I need him. I'm never going to find anybody else. Blah, 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 blah. And when God did not come through with that bargain, I went right back to angry. I got angry at God. I got re-angry at Rob and his mom and myself. And I was even pissy with my own parents for a long time. Because they kept telling me, and I know they meant this for my own good, they kept telling me to get a better lawyer, or to get a lawyer, because we were just going to do a civil thing, because we didn't have any kids, so we didn't have custody of anything to fight over. We didn't own a house, we didn't own a car, we had no savings, so there was really nothing worth hiring a lawyer about, except for maybe trying to get alimony, but he had no job and I was on disability, so where would that money come from?
Yeah.
If he has no job, he can't pay alimony, so. And at the time, I was still I want what's best for Rob, and I know he wants a divorce, and I'm going to make it easy for him. I'm not going to get a lawyer. I'm just going to do what the judge says and be done with it, because I was still trying to do the whole, how can I get him back thing. And then, yeah, acceptance kind of actually didn't even fully come until he died. Because even after the divorce, I was like, we might get back together sometime.
Yeah.
People have done it before, gotten a divorce and got remarried.
Oh, yeah.
I was still bouncing around on that. And, but once he died, my mind just went, oh, okay, he's gone. We gotta go.
Literally, he's gone.
We gotta move on. We don't have a choice now. He's gone, he's not coming back. They don't come back to life. That's when I stopped the denial. I finally accepted the fact that he was gone. And I'll tell you what, that acceptance, while it was sad and it was a bad situation, when I finally hit acceptance, when I finally had that closure, I felt way different. Immediately. Yeah. Immediately. I just felt less stressed. I almost felt relieved. I'd hate to say that I was relieved that he died, but I was relieved because that burden was gone. I couldn't, dwell on us getting back together if he was dead, so that burden was gone. I couldn't dwell on it, so there was no point. So that was kind of that.
Yeah, when acceptance hits, it generally, most of the time, don't want to say all the time, don't want to say some of the time, most of the time, it kind of feels like a weight's been lifted, kind of, if you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even after the acceptance, I did still go through depression and anger. I didn't do bargaining anymore because that would have been pointless. Hey, God.
Bring him back from the dead.
Yeah, bring him back from the dead for me, okay?
Even though he's a pile of ash.
Yeah, he was cremated. But the acceptance was my clearing point. And another thing you can do is you can go through the mourning stages of losing a loved one before they're gone. Before they actually die.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I went through that with my grandma and my dad.
Yep.
My grandma, we knew she was on her way out. She had lung cancer and heart disease. She was on oxygen. She was in hospice care. She had a hospice nurse come to the house a lot. And in a way, I think Rob divorcing me was meant to be, because my parents, somebody always had to be home with my grandma. She could not be home alone. and therefore my parents kept having to work 2 different shifts and never got to see each other because otherwise they wouldn't be able to afford the house they were in or utilities or whatever. And so at the separation, I immediately went home to my parents and they took me in. And since I was now home and on disability and without a job, I was able to stay home with Grandma, and my parents were able to work more normal shifts. So I kind of almost want to thank Rob for that, because if he hadn't separated with me, I don't know what would have happened with that whole situation. It wouldn't have been good, whatever it was. Yeah. No, I'm not crying. I just have a cold that I'm fighting.
We both do.
Yeah. And then my dad, I mourned my dad's death before he died because we knew he was dying. He had a very rare fibrosis thing in his lungs. Not cystic fibrosis. Pulmonary fibrosis. Basically scar tissue from pneumonia, even though he had gotten that pneumonia shot. He still ended up getting pneumonia and had a lot of scar tissue build up, and then his artery, or his windpipe, the ducts in his lungs were not opening up well enough for him to breathe on his own. So he was on oxygen, and he eventually went to a hospice hospital. And when he was gone, I had an aunt who had been very supportive of me the whole time, all the way from Rod's separation to my dad's death. I won't name her name. I'll keep her private. But one day, my mom was gone, and my dad was in the hospice hospital. That's where my mom was. She was in the hospice hospital visiting him. And I was watching TV, and my aunt came in, and I kind of knew that she was going to tell me my dad had passed. But actually, she didn't tell me. My mom called and told me after they knew that Aunt Lenny was there, because they were afraid with me being mentally ill, I might try something or have a breakdown or a meltdown, and they didn't want me alone for that. So my aunt had come over, and then shortly after she arrived, my mom called and let me know that my dad was gone. And I cried, and I was upset, but at the same time, I had already gotten to acceptance because I had done the mourning process before he died. So when he died, it was another sense of relief, not for me, but for him, because the fibrosis was giving him a lot of pain. He was in a lot of pain. He coughed nonstop. He coughed up blood. He was on oxygen. It basically screwed him up, like, really bad. He was really, really unhealthy. So I was relieved he was gone, because I knew he wouldn't be hurting anymore. So I had done all the stages before he even died. So, and sometimes I feel guilty about that, even though I know I shouldn't. I feel like, oh my God, why am I not mourning his death? Why don't I feel worse than I feel? But I'll think about, I already did that. I already went through that. Any thoughts, David?
No, not really.
Well,
should probably wrap the video up.
Yep. So, enjoy today, because you're not promised a tomorrow.
Yep.
So, we will end on that note, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Guess what?
Oh no. Not the countdown.
6 days till Christmas.
Why do you hate me?
Because it's fun.
Bam.
Alright, catch y'all tomorrow.
Bye.